right, good morning to the team and good morning to all of you. Welcome back to the No Morning Show here on TTT. It's just about 27 minutes to the hour of 7 o'clock. And the spotlight this morning is on Tobago. So let's welcome to the program the Vice President of the Tobago Hotel and Tourism Association, Mrs. Caroline Birchwood James, to just talk about its expectations of the budget presentation that will be read on October 4th. Good morning to you, Mrs. James.
Good morning, Natalie, and good morning to the TTT team and the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you so much for being with us here. So I know that this is the time of year where people look to see, you know, what resources they're going to get, you know, how their sector is going to be improved, you know, what are the things that will be rolled out to help the economy. So what are your expectations of the budget, you know, regarding tourism?
Well, first, I must say that we are looking forward to this budget to see how we can resurrect our tourism industry in Tobago. And as usual, every year, we put forward recommendations for every annual budget, whether it's the THTA budget or whether it's the national budget. Yeah. So we do have a wish list, and we are looking forward this year to some of our wishes coming true. We want an early Christmas in the tourism industry.
You know what? I am sure that everybody feels the way you do, especially with the pandemic, and we see how tight things have been, and you know, prices going up with almost everything. Everybody really deserves an early Christmas, but the reality is that I doubt that the Minister of Finance will be able to do that in any big way, considering the amount of monies we've spent over the last year and a half, considering the debt to GDP ratio, consider how much we've borrowed. So what does the wish list include? Let's see how realistic it is.
Well, it's very realistic for us because right now there's nothing happening in the tourism industry. All the big hotels are closed and the small ones are open, but they are closed, bed and breakfast included. So something has to happen here because we employ people, and right now most of them are closed. So the first thing we are looking for is some type of loan facility, a 15-year loan facility with a moratorium of about 18 months, because we're going to need that loan facility to help pay for some of our bills. We have nobody in the hotel, and bills are accruing, and well as for us to do our operations, as well as to do some sort of renovations so that we can open when the borders open in Tobago. That means the local airlift, the foreign airlift, and so we can be ready. Now, there are some loan facilities like FCB and so on, but they don't really cater to our circumstances and our needs. So we want a 15-year loan, low-interest loan, with an 18-month moratorium to bring us up to speed. We are not asking for a grant, we are asking for a loan. Now, the second thing is, we do have a grant facility of $50 million, and they have disbursed some of the money, the first tranche. People are still waiting on the second tranche of money. And remember, this facility was for renovations, not operations, renovations, and prices of steel going up, prices of cement and so on going up, and all those kind of things. People have stockpile of material in the yard, rain washing it away, cement is getting hard and so on. So we are looking for the second tranche of that facility. The third thing is the reserve electricity. There is something when you have a hotel, and I guess some big businesses, you have a reserve electricity component. Meaning, for example, one hotel in Tobago, they have a reserve electricity of $40,000. So before you switch on any light, it's $40,000 you have to pay. So we want some kind of ease up on that, because at this point in time, the hoteliers cannot pay that reserve electricity. We do not have the money, we have no guests, we have no business. So these are some of the things we are looking for. Support for our airlift when it comes, our foreign airlift. We need some support for our foreign airlift, and we need marketing for the destination to Tobago, and by extension, Trinidad.
You know what, Mrs. James, I don't think that what you're asking for is unreasonable. The only one I think I'd want
Well,
to
thank you,
no,
Natalie.
no, I'm very serious. I mean, at the end of the day, we make judgment calls about things all the time. I don't think it's unreasonable to want that loan. I know that the government had tried to speak with the banks, earlier in the pandemic to try to, put loan facilities in place and some credit cards, some things with credit card where you could pay back at a time. But I understand that what you're asking for more than anything else is that moratorium of a couple months that will give you the opportunity to catch yourself as a hotelier, correct?
Thank you. Yes, definitely
Right.
so. Because at this stage, I will tell you, a lot of our hoteliers are in a dire crisis, you know, because not only do they have to see about their families, but they also have employees who have been with them for a number of years. Where do they go to? They have mountain light bills, mountain water bills, mountain telephone bills, all internet bills, all these facilities is a must in any hotel, whether you're a bed and breakfast or you are a large hotel. And
Yeah.
these bills are mountain, and we have no guests.
Right. Well, I would think that because there are no guests, that those bills would be reduced to somewhat, at least the electricity. But when it comes on to the electricity, I think the difficulty for me from the business community on a whole is that everybody wants the government to give them something. And I haven't heard from the business community where they expect the government to get the money from. Because if everybody is saying, okay, pay us our VAT refunds, give us a time not to pay taxes because we didn't make money in X amount of years, hold up on the payment that you pay before for the electricity. And I hear these things all the time, not just from the Tourism and Hoteliers Association. I understand it, but I also know that it's also reasonable for us to look at, okay, where is the government to get this money from for this budget presentation that it's about to do to support the country for next year if everybody wants but nobody is willing to give?
Well, the first thing, this is a pandemic, and this is something that occurs, I guess, every 100 years. So we are all, it's a new experience, it's a new normal for all of us. But let's take, for example, that electricity bill, that reserve electricity. We are not using the electricity, okay? So we feel that there could be some policy in place where you lessen that reserve capacity so that at least our hotels can breathe, because $40,000 and you haven't put on a switch yet, you haven't plugged in a refrigerator yet, is a lot of money, and so on, especially when you have no business. The second thing is, we are a foreign exchange earner. We need foreign exchange, and this is one of our jobs. We are foreign exchange earner. We export, and therefore we also employ a lot of people. Hotels employ a lot of people. So it is good for the government to look at our plight and see how they can help, especially with the loan. We are thankful for the grant facility. We want it to continue. We want the second tranche, but at the same time, we have a lot of things to do. For example, the grant facility gives a big hotel of 200 rooms $600,000 to do renovation. There's not much you can do with that. I do have to tell you that. The smaller hotels of 20 rooms is $300,000. There's not much you can do with that. By the time you touch about 3-4 rooms, the money is over. So this is where we are looking for the loan facility. We are asking for a loan. And we need a moratorium because we have to get ourselves on our feet. There are no flights, there are no international flights to Tobago at this time. So we have to wait for the flights to come back. We're not sure what is going to happen to our German flight, our Condor, where we get a lot of international visitors from Germany. So therefore, I think that we are being very reasonable. We know that the government have a lot on its plate, but this is how you test a government, because this has never happened before. Yeah. So the government is a test. I know everybody is asking and so on, and they have to now show their capacity. They are the government, people voted for them, and they now have to show what they can do.
I agree with you, and I think that they've definitely showed that over the last 18 months because, as the Minister of Finance pointed out, people complain all the time about what happens here in Trinidad and Tobago. But when you look at what is happening across the region, it has really taken the lead to me in how it has treated with the pandemic, whether it's the offering social support to those affected. I know people say it's not enough, but the reality is if your lifestyle costs $10,000, the government won't be able to give you $10,000. You know what I mean? But I think it has definitely tried to show us what it can do and has done over the last 18 months, and I hope it continues to support the people of Trinidad and Tobago, even though I'm sure that there are areas that it can improve on naturally. But as I said, I think that what you're asking for is realistic, but you said that every single year, whether it's a national budget or a THTA, you sit and you send in proposals. How successful has that procedure been? Have your ideas been taken on board any at all over the years?
Not really, but we persist. We come in with discussions and so on. We persist and we have hope. But this time, this is a dire situation. It's a crisis here, and we hope that at this time they pay attention to some of our plans. You see, but we are a resilient bunch, and I will tell you, Natalie, I don't know how we are surviving. To tell you the truth, I do not know how my other hoteliers and the people in the hotel industry in Tobago are surviving. Yeah. So we are making a plea to the government, to the Prime Minister, and whoever else is hearing that we need help, especially with our proposals for our loan, for the grant, the phase 2 of the grant.
All right. We seem to have lost Mrs. Birchwood James there, but I understand what she's saying. She's asking especially for the second tranche of the grant that the government granted to hoteliers in Tobago, and also a loan with an 18 months moratorium, a 15-year loan, because they're just trying to get back on their feet. And of course, that reserved electricity bill, she's saying, reduce that. $40,000 when the hotels aren't working or moving is a lot of money. And I agree.
It is a lot of money. Yeah. Can you imagine that? No operation, but we've definitely got more in store. It's Tobago Thursdays on the Now Morning Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.